Do you feel like you're doing all the right things, yet you simply just cannot seem to lose the weight? Whether it's an extra 5 pounds, 10, 20, whatever it might be, you feel like you're doing all the things that you have seen other people suggest to do, or you know are right. Maybe you're trying to eat better. Maybe you're trying to exercise more, but yet it just doesn't seem like the weight is falling off. And so I know this is a super frustrating topic, especially if you feel like you're doing all the right things. But I have some things to share with you that really will go in depth on why your body might be holding on to weight and then what you can do about it. So let's hop in. So, as I said, this can definitely be a super frustrating topic, especially if you feel like you're doing all the right things. So this video is not going to be for someone that is still consuming lots of processed foods, knows they're not eating the right thing, and aren't moving either, right? Yeah, you're gonna hold on to extra weight if you are doing those things. But I really want to address and talk to the person that feels like, okay, I'm doing what I feel like is the right thing, but it's just not happening for me. Or maybe you just hit a plateau. Maybe you lost weight for a little while, and then now you just can't lose that few extra last pounds. So let's kind of dig into this. And I want to make no mistake in this when I'm talking about this. Our body is not messing up. When it's holding on to extra weight, there is a reason. It's built to survive, and it's wired to do whatever it takes to function and to protect itself. Our body has a built-in protection mechanism, and one of those is holding on to extra weight. It's kind of like when a bear goes to hibernate, right? It's a protective mechanism to get it through what is somewhat of a stressful time when it doesn't have what it needs to eat, right? There's lots of other examples, but our body is simply not messing up when it does hold on to extra weight. It's built to survive, and it's built to do whatever it takes to function properly. So why are we holding on to extra weight then? A lot of times it is due to stress on our body. So let's look at a few ways and areas that it might, and why it might be holding on to this extra weight. Number one, because it feels threatened. So you might be thinking, well, I don't necessarily feel threatened myself, but why does my body feel threatened? So let's talk about a few reasons why your body might feel threatened. Number one, over exercising. Now wait, Kari, exercise is good, right? Never said exercise wasn't good, but if you are constantly doing very, very high intensity workouts for longer periods of time, and you have been doing that for maybe a while, your body feels threatened because that is extra stress added to your body on top of the other stress that we feel from, relationships in our life and just emotional things that we're dealing with, maybe repressed emotions, like all of those things add up. And so exercise sometimes can be a stressor on our body when it's done with too high of an intensity for too long, too routinely. So that is one reason why it might feel threatened. Another reason is that you are actually under-nourishing your body. And this kind of goes with another thing that I want to hit on, which is routine fasting, which is like intermittent fasting, or just, having a very small window within which you eat. And I don't think fasting is bad. I think though that we have taken something that, is a good thing, but we've taken it to the extreme, right? It is very hard to get the amount of nutrients that you need in a 6-hour window, even an 8-hour window sometimes, right? And we're just not meant to function like that, especially women. I'm talking to women here more so because our body is very sensitive to stress. And so if we are stressing it out in a lot of these different areas, then it is going to automatically hold on to weight because it feels threatened. And so those are some things for you to think about, right? This is a short, impactful video just to give you things to think about. And in future videos, please comment below if you want to know more about any of these topics, and I will go into more detail. But for sake of time, I'm going to leave it at that. One of the reasons that your body might be holding on to extra stress and extra weight, is because it feels threatened. So another reason that it may be holding on to extra weight is because it's overloaded. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by overloaded? I'm really referring to toxic overload right here. Because yet another reason why our body feels stress is because it is overloaded with toxins. And so whenever we put toxins on our skin, consume, things that have, by toxin, I mean chemicals, preservatives, different things that are not from nature, right? These are things that our body does not recognize, so it can't make good use out of it. And so a lot of times it tucks it away in a cell and it gets it away from our organs so that, again, our body is wired to survive, right? It wants our vital organs to work so that we can live. And so that's what happens, right? We have an excess of these toxins, and a lot of times fat can accumulate and be stored there and be really hard to get rid of when we have these extra toxins stored in it. Another thing that toxins do is it overloads our detoxification system, because detox means detoxify, right? Our detox system is trying to get rid of these toxins. But when we have so many from so many different areas, I just want you to think about, a few that you might maybe have not considered before. Cleaning your home, using scents in your home, putting things on your body like lotion that has chemical fragrance or preservatives, hair wash, face wash. There's so many different ones, right? You can think about a lot of different products that you bring into your home that might be clogging up your system because you're using them day in and day out. It's a little bit over time, but yet it really, really adds up. And so that's, if we have these toxins, why can't our body just detox them? Well, it's actually when our body needs to detox them the most, it gets backed up because there are so many. So that's what I mean by being overloaded. That is another reason why your body might be holding on to extra weight. And then lastly, it might be holding on to extra weight because it's out of balance. So what do I mean by out of balance? I want to first talk about your minerals. When I think about balance, I think about minerals or one of the things I think about. There's several different things, but minerals are very, very important because they are like spark plugs to almost every process in your body. And so when they're off, there's a cascade effect of, that causes issues that you may feel in certain symptoms. And especially if you're under stress, one of the first things to get off balance is our minerals, because stress burns through them very, very quickly. And so this can affect things like your thyroid and your hormones and even your gut health and your adrenals. Like, there's so many different things that your minerals affect that you might not realize. Another thing that gets out of balance is our gut microbiome. So when we have all of these different stressors, our gut is impaired, and maybe it's low stomach acid, maybe we have leaky gut, we have little holes in our gut lining, so it's allowing these things to get into our blood that should not be there, and that is causing our system to get overloaded as well. And so also it's allowing, these things are allowing bacteria to be overgrown that maybe should not be, so the balance there is off. And then also parasites, that it creates a really great environment for those to thrive. And of course, we know we don't want those, right? We don't want to be a good host for that. So those are a couple of different reasons why your body might be holding on to extra weight. So as I'm sort of finishing up here, what can we do about this? So I want to just make it really, really simple and easy, because sometimes we can get very overwhelmed. And I know if you're watching this and you're like, I'm doing all the right things, but you feel frustrated, and that causes extra stress on your body, right? When we're frustrated because we can't lose weight, it actually is taking us into a negative pattern that we don't want. So what can we do? Really, really simple thing. Nourish your body and sleep, and give your body rest. These are the two of the most important things that you can do to begin this healing process. Sure, there are way more things that we could dive into, but just those two things. Sometimes we make it so complicated, but those are easy things that we can focus on and prioritize. I say easy. Sometimes they're not so easy because we live a very busy lifestyle, but you understand what it means to nourish your body and to sleep. Nourish means real whole foods, and sleep means 7 to 9 hours of really, really restful sleep. And looking back at some of the other areas that we discussed, if your body feels threatened, see what you can do to lessen that threat. If it feels overloaded, see what you can do to lessen the load. And if it's out of balance, work to restore that balance. And if you want your body to realize that you want your body to realize that it's going to be nourished and that it's going to get rest, because that can take it out of this stressful state, right? If it's just constantly like, well, when am I going to get rest and when am I going to get some nourishment? And it just holds on to everything it has because it's worried that it's not going to get what it needs. So it holds on to everything, and that's what can lead us to hold on to extra weight. So you want your body to feel safe, to feel nourished, to feel rested. And so it honestly takes some inventory about where you could see yourself really needing to focus on in these different areas. As far as if you're fasting all the time, maybe you cut that down to a couple of times a week, or maybe you just fast for the 12 hours that are, basically overnight fast. Our body is meant to fast, but really it's meant to just fast overnight. So that might be one way that you can sort of cut back and making it feel less threatened. Maybe you're being undernourished. How about you just see how many calories you're actually consuming in a day? I'm not saying you need to count calories all the time, because I don't think that's good either, but you need to see a rough estimate of how many calories you're consuming in a day. And if it's super low, that might be a big issue for you. Look at your exercise. Are you doing very high intensity exercises or workouts for 4 to 5 days a week? Maybe you could lessen that to 2 to 3 days a week. Go for more walks or do more strength training, and try to keep your exercises or your workouts under 20 to 30 minutes. So you're just not doing that high of an intensity for that long. There's lots of different ways that you can do this. But also with your body being overloaded with toxins, to me that's a really easy place that you could start, is to just try to begin looking at these products and replacing them a little bit over time. Whenever you run out of a cleaner, maybe you look for a better option. I'm going to put in the comments a great resource for you if that's an area that you would like to look more into. But in general, I wanted to give you a good overview about a couple of different reasons why your body might be holding on to weight. Now, I want to point your attention to something, and that is a bi-weekly webinar that I love to do that goes into depth on how are you spinning your wheels when you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're just not moving forward in your health? And it kind of goes into more in depth on some of these things that I've already talked about. So I'm going to put the link to register for that webinar. You can look to see when the next one is. You can register for it and join me live. I'll answer your questions. I'll go into more depth on some of these topics. So that's a great next step for you to see when you could join me for that webinar. The link will be in the description of this video. And if you've loved these tips, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And also, I love to hang out on Instagram, so you can follow me over there. You can get some great education around this topic and more on my Instagram account. Of course, there's my website where I house all of the things. So go check me out there. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, and I'll see you on the next one.